All right, good morning, traders. What's today? Today is June 5th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Hey, let's take a look at some charts, how I plan to trade SPY today. I want to thank everybody out there in digital land, podcast land, cyber land, everybody out there. Hey, before I get started, let's talk about this for just a minute. All right, we're going to have Doug from Right Way Options going to have an open house on Monday, June 9th from 9:30 to 4. All right, I will leave a link in the description. All right, it's free to attend. All you got to do is register. All right, I'll leave the registration link in the description in the video. All right, one other thing here. I got one more thing to cover today for the members. On the member e-learning, we're going to have scanning and sorting, all right? So you're going to get three about 45-minute presentations from each of us. One from Doug, one from me, one from Rick, all right? It all starts at noon, so I won't be in the room at noon, all right? So member e-learning, and it's open to all members, trials and regular members, okay? So come on in, and we'll have this recorded, but come on in and join us, ask questions. All right, so that's today in the combo room at noon. And if you want to know how to get to the combo room, don't forget Doug's open house, June 9th. Okay, if you want to know how to get to the combo room, let's see if I can get that out there for you. See if I can drag this up without messing anything up here. And to get to the combo room, you simply log in. And if you're a BYOB member, go to the BYOB member page, and that would be the combo room right there. You just hit log in, and you can sign in. Just click log in, and that'll take you right up there. Okay? That'll take you into the combo room. All right. Got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and get started here. Let's get down to the good stuff. All right. Again, everybody, thank you for being here. My SPY pivot this morning, 596.80. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All of the Fab 5 are in daily uptrends. All made higher highs and higher lows, closing over their traps over their 17 EMAs. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend and a 10-minute downtrend. Gold and silver both in daily uptrends. Gold made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Silver made an inside day, having a nice breakout this morning. I don't know if you guys saw that. All right, so 2 inside days in a row for silver, and then you get a huge blast off. That happened this morning, closing over a bullish trap over the rising 17 EMA. Silver's bullish. All right, made an inside day yesterday, breakout today. USO in a daily uptrend, finally. It's been a while, all right? Made an outside day, higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. UNG made an inside day, lower high, higher low, closing over a also closing over a bullish trap over the falling 17. US dollar index in a downtrend, we like that. Closed near the 98.86 area. SPY Max Pain, that's for the options that expired today in SPY. All right, SPY Max Pain supposedly is 595 with a put to call ratio of less than 1 put to each call that expires today. All right, let's drill down. Let's go take a look at some charts. All right, and what do we got here? We got QQQ. Let's go to SPY. Okay, try one more time, SPY. All right, and what do we want? We want this one right here, 10-minute downtrend. This is our 10-minute chart. Okay, you can see the 3 EMAs underneath the 8 EMA, so the faster moving average is underneath the slower one. So you got a 10-minute downtrend, okay, right underneath VWAP here, coming into the close. Possible exhaustion candle right there. Who knows? They've been kind of flatlining. It's like they can't get below this area right here. They all day yesterday just down to here, and then back up, down to here, and then back up. And that number is 595.83. All right, so you can see 10-minute downtrend, 2-hour uptrend. See the yellow 3 EMA up over the 8 EMA there. So 2-hour uptrend. Daily chart. You can see we got a higher low, higher high closing over a bullish trap because you got the 3 on top of the 8 closing over a bullish trap over that rising 17 EMA right there. So daily in an uptrend. Take a look at it on the scratch. Yeah, you know what? Probably not the best one. All right, let's try this one. Hey, that looks good. All right, so you can see price action up here, closing over the trap. That's bullish. Over the 17, that's bullish. Up in quadrant 4, also bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, also bullish. All right, making higher lows and higher highs, that's bullish. Moving up, holding the higher ground and having a breakout, all of that is bullish. There's SPY on the daily chart. On the 2-day, 2 days still stuck in a downtrend till they take out the all-time high, or they pull back, make a higher low, and then come back up through and take out the lower high. Okay, so there's SPY. 2 days still on a downtrend. 3 days, same deal, still in a downtrend. Weekly, still in a downtrend. Hey, but look, 2-day, 3-day, and weekly are not moving down. They might be in downtrends technically, but the bottom line is they're not moving down. Okay, so on the monthly chart, we got an uptrend still. Okay, because we haven't taken out a low. All right, so that would be the first low to take out, and they fell short of taking out that low. So we're still in an uptrend. Okay, so now this will be the new low. If they take out that low, that will put us in a monthly downtrend. So monthly chart still in an uptrend. So what do I like? You know what I'm going to tell you? I like an uptrend, all right? That like a 10-minute uptrend. This is my favorite. It's a rare opportunity right now, okay? I like a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, all right? I like that 10-minute uptrend to be inside of a 2-hour uptrend. And I want that 2-hour uptrend to be inside of a daily uptrend. And I want that daily to be inside of a weekly. I don't have the weekly, but the good news is the weekly's not moving down. Okay, the weekly's moving up. Inside of a monthly that's also in an uptrend. Okay, I almost got all of it, all right? But the good news is on that weekly, we're not moving down. All right, so I got almost all of that there. So, and that's a rare opportunity. All of that over that all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, that means probably 10-minute uptrend is going to go a little further, last a little longer than normal when price action's up over that all-time high anchored VWAP. And I have that stack of uptrends, the 10-minute, the 2-hour, the daily, you know, and the monthly. 10-minute uptrends are more likely to work, all right, as opposed to 10-minute downtrends. All right, 10-minute uptrends are probably going to last longer. They're probably going to go further, okay? And, you know, downtrends are probably more likely to fail in this uptrend because they're counter trend. All right, so what options do I like? I like the 1 DTE and the 8 DTE Friday options. I like them on the increments of 5. So if SPY's at 595, I like them at 600, 605, 610, 590, 585. Okay, I like them on those because they got more open interest on the multiples of 5. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP and breaking away from VWAP to the upside. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP and breaking away from VWAP to the downside. All right, so SPY pivot this morning is 596.80. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. If we got a 10-minute uptrend over the pivot, all right, green erases red, first entry. Over, price over 597.95. That is the green erases red entry. On this downside, if we got a 10-minute downtrend under the pivot, the first red erases green entry is underneath 595.75. For a target, if they were to break down today, I would pick this anchored VWAP right here. And that is currently at 591.57. All right, let's take a look at the pre-market. All right, well, actually, we'll go ahead and get the QQQ game plan out of the way, and then we'll look at the pre-market, and I'll talk and discuss how I would trade SPY this morning. All right, so let's look at QQQ. Let's take this off of there. That's not supposed to be there. All right, and QQQ. All right, QQQ game plan. Guess what? I like the same thing. I want those 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like those inside of a 2-hour uptrend, inside of a daily uptrend, inside of a weekly uptrend. Don't have the weekly uptrend, but I do have the monthly uptrend, and all of that over that all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, again, rare opportunity. QQQ and SPY. Okay, both of them. All right, QQQ. I like 1 DTE and 8 DTE. So 1 day till expiration and 8 days till expiration Friday options. Again, same thing. I like them on the multiple of 5. 525, 520, 530, 535. You get the picture, okay? On the multiple of 5. All right, sound? There's no sound? Can you guys hear me? Sounds good. Okay. Somebody get with Robert. Let me just take care of this. Yep, thank you. All right, I just told him to refresh. All right, so QQQ pivot, 527.90. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green underneath, 526.45. Somebody move this again. I don't know how this stuff gets moved. Nobody's in here but me. 526.45. Right there. Okay, I don't know how this stuff gets moved around. Because no one's in here but me. So there it is right there. Again, okay, I like 1 day till expiration Friday options, multiple of 5. 8 days till expiration Friday options, multiple of 5. All right, I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like them when they break away from VWAP. Okay, nothing but tight consolidation. Half the day on the 3rd and almost all day yesterday was tight consolidation wind up. This thing is like poised for a breakout. All right, I don't know if it happens today. We'll find out. But this thing is really wound up tight for a big breakout. So this is QQQ game plan right there. All right, now what do I want to do? Oh yeah, let's take a look at the pre-market. And let's look at SPY. Come on. All right. If I get, all right, green erases red in the pre-market. Okay, so this would be all of this. I'm going to box off the red. So we went from this low down to this. From that high down to this low. Okay, if in the pre-market green comes up and wipes out the red, I will be interested in trading this higher as a green erases red entry right here. Okay, right there. Right over that overnight high wick up there. I will be interested in trading that. But I'm looking at price, and they made a lower high here in the pre-market. And I think there's a possibility price comes down. All right, so there's a possibility we get a red erases green entry. All right, so now if we get red comes all the way down here, let's trash that out. Now if red comes from here, that high, with the box, all right, and wipes out that low right there, underneath that, that would be a bearish, you can see green, red erases green entry right here, right through there. So that's about 595.25. That's my bearish entry there. All right. So there's my plan for this morning. That's kind of a wide range. I know 595.50 clear up to 597.50, but that's where it's trading right now, back and forth in there. You can see here's yesterday's price action, 595. Okay, see this 597.50, 597.80. Okay, down to right here 595.50. So boom, boom, like that. Then they did it again, boom, boom. Same thing, all the way down here, ripped back up to 597.80, 597.70, and then again back down to here, 595.80, 595.50. Then they did it again. Okay, back up to 597.80, and then clear down to 595.70. Okay, so it's been nothing but chop yesterday, okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm expecting more of the same until they break out of this. This is really wound up tight. I don't know which way it's going to go, up or down. All right, it is a bullish flag up here. All right, so this is, let's talk about this. This is a bull flag. All of that, okay, is a bull flag. All right. Normally, that would be 1, 2. So 1 is the igniting move up. 2, consolidate. And then the next move should take us that way. And my first target would be 600. Okay, for that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. All right, my first target would be 600. And then we'll get to more targets after that. First target, 600. Right there. So there's the plan this morning. Okay, so there's SPY on. That's on a 5-minute with the pre-market on. Currently, let's just take a look at it one more time. All right, with the pre-market on. Currently, on the 10-minute chart, you can see they got a sloppy, super sloppy 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. That's what they currently have, with a lower high and another lower high. And we'll see where this is. I'll call it a lower high for right now. It may wipe out this high, okay? But so far, lower high, and another lower high, okay? So red wipes out green right here. That would be an entry for me, or down here, below 595.40. Okay, so red wipes out green. I'd be interested in taking this lower. And if it gets below 595.40, that would be my next entry, even lower. Okay, so there's SPY on the 10-minute, and there's the game plan this morning. All right, currently 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. All right, kind of a sloppy one. You see how it crosses back up and then resumes and then crosses back up, and then we'll see if it's going to resume here. So there's SPY. All right, let's go take a look at QQQ on the daily chart. Pick up the daily chart, head back over here, and we want the quad lines, which are not there. Here they are. All right, on the daily chart, QQQ, okay, just like all of them, all the Fab 5, higher highs, higher lows, closing over traps, over 17s. That's bullish. Closing over the uptrend line, that's the gold line. That's bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's the pink line. That's bullish. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Moving up, holding the higher ground. All of that is bullish. That's why I'm saying those 10-minute uptrends are more likely to work. Okay, making higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend. So everything bullish, an uptrend. QQQ. All right. Let's take a look at IWM. Hey, same deal here. Okay, not in the upper third though. All right. Price action in an uptrend, higher low, higher high, that's bullish. Okay, yesterday's price action, higher high, higher low, closing over the trap, over the 17, that's bullish. Closing over the uptrend line, that's bullish. Okay, knocking on the door of the all-time, of the I'm going to call it the 6-month high anchored VWAP. I don't think that's all-time high. Yeah, it's all-time high anchored VWAP right there. So knocking on the door of that, delete that. All right, you can see we were up over there for a brief minute the day before. We got up there. We just couldn't close a candle up there. So there's IWM on the daily chart. Okay, made a higher low. Question is, can they dig out a higher high? Okay, price action up over the uptrend line. Okay, knocking on the door of the all-time high anchored VWAP. Knocking on the door of the midpoint right here. Okay, not quite in the upper third, not in the lower third, so just neutral through here. But moving up and holding the higher ground, that's bullish. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Same deal, higher low, higher high, closing over the trap, over the 17. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, over the downtrend line, over the uptrend line. All of that is bullish. Up here in the upper third, that's bullish. Making higher lows and higher highs, that's in the uptrend. Moving up and holding the higher ground, also bullish. Diamond Dow, bullish, uptrend. IWM, bullish, kind of neutral, bullish to neutral and in an uptrend. SPY, bullish and in an uptrend. QQQ, bullish and in an uptrend. FNGB, all right, FNGB, higher low, higher high, closing over the trap, over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, over the uptrend line, all right, in the upper quadrant, all of that bullish, all right, making higher lows and higher highs, that's bullish. Getting a little breakout here going on, another little breakout from this 3-day, 4-day consolidation. So FNGB, that's bullish up here in quadrant 4. Uptrend, higher low, higher high. Okay, let's take a look at our technicals. T2122, this is the 4th. We spent the day camping out. All right, we had breakfast here in the overbought zone. All right, then we went to lunch inside the buy zone. That's it. All right, we broke the uptrend, the downtrend line right there. That was nice. Hopefully, we J-hook off the backside of this downtrend line. We'll see what happens. That would be price dips in the buyer's chop zone and then J-hooks back to the buy zone and eventually to the overbought zone. That's T2123, 22. This is T2123. It's a 15-minute chart. Okay, so you can see price moved up. Okay, price moved up and held the higher ground. That's a bullish environment, okay? Whenever you got price, okay, price moves up and gives it up, that's just neutral, all right? That's neutral. Up, give it up, that's neutral. You go up and you hold that higher ground as opposed to giving it up, all right? That's bullish, all right? You take the ground, you defend it, all right? That's bullish when you see price do that. That means hedge funds and money managers and security managers are defending that position up there. All right, so instead of going up and giving it up, all right, they're defending it because they think it's going to go higher. We'll see what happens. All right, so that's price. Price is in an uptrend, okay, because we're making higher lows and higher highs. Again, price is moving up and holding the higher ground. That's bullish right there. We're on top of the 200 SMA. That's bullish. We're on top of the downtrend line. That's bullish. We're knocking on the door of prior all-time high, and I think we did cross into it. Yep. There's a prior all-time high, so we're getting a little resistance in that prior all-time high. Bullish gap up. That's a bullish environment. Anytime the bears fail to fill a bullish gap, especially at these highs, okay, that's a bullish environment right there, okay, up over the 200 SMA. That's bullish. You look at price action here for the past 6-7 days, price has been making a higher high. So there's a high, okay, made a higher high the day before, made a higher high right there, day before that, and then on the 30th, there's another high right there, another high right here, another high right here, another high right there. See, all these days, each one making higher highs. So that's bullish right there. Okay, you can see some of these bullish gaps not getting filled by the bears. There's one. There's one. There's that one got filled. And then there's one right there. Okay, that's a bullish environment. That tells you the stock is bullish. The security is bullish. All right, don't get in front of this one. Okay, that's bullish so far. All right, not till they show you something different. All right, it's bullish till it's not. 3-bar chart. All right, it's going to be the same product but on a 3-bar chart. Okay, you can see price over the daily downtrend, over the 200 SMA, that's bullish. Okay, making higher highs. 3 more green candle bars attacking those prior all-time highs. Again, it's the same chart. Notice the valley between 2 peaks became the target. Okay, I don't know if you guys watch all my videos, but those that do would know that I talk about the valley between 2 peaks as always being a great target. Okay, and the same thing goes with the peak between 2 valleys. Also a great target. Okay, got a valley between 2 peaks, target, and where do we go? Right here, to the target. All right, so there's price action on T2123. Again, moving up. All right, moving up and holding the higher ground here. Okay, price action moving up, holding the higher ground. Okay, there's a high there. You can see there's a high there. We made a higher high. So T2123 3-bar is in an uptrend. On the daily chart, all right, we're not. This is bullish, by the way, on the 3-bar chart. Okay, now if we look at the daily chart, right here, okay, you can see the first green dot that we come to is way up here. All right, so we won't be in an uptrend on the daily chart till we take out that high. Okay, 10-minute uptrends are easy. All right, we can nail those anytime we want to. This is the daily uptrend. See how long it's taken us to recover this daily downtrend that we got. All right, so we'd have to take out that high to negate the downtrend status for the daily chart. Okay, currently they're moving up and holding the higher ground. I would hope to see a breakout up over the 200 and consolidate over the 200. We'll see what happens. FNGB, again, price action for yesterday. That's the 4th. Okay, a little buying, a little selling, and a little buying. Okay, so buying for breakfast. Got a 5 martini lunch there, and then come back for dinner and buy it right into dinner right there. Price action up over a rising 200. It's a 15-minute chart. Okay, up over a rising 200 SMA. That's bullish over this all-time high anchored VWAP. That pink line, that's bullish over this uptrend line. That's also bullish. So everything looking good. FNGB. Let's take a look at a few sectors. Take a look at XLE. XLE just can't seem to stay out of the lower third, so that's bearish on XLE. All right, closing under the trap under the 17, that's bearish. Closing underneath downtrend line 1 and downtrend line 2 and this 12-month high anchored VWAP, all of that is bearish and in the lower third. But guess what? It's in an uptrend. Here's the problem. It's not moving up for the last 14 days. Has not been moving up. That's XLE. Let's take a look at USO. Okay, USO in a new uptrend. All right, they took out this high, so they're in a new uptrend. XLE is in an uptrend, but not moving up. USO is in an uptrend and struggling here. Okay, they're no longer in the lower third, so they're just neutral. Okay, you go down, you give it up, that's neutral. So there's USO up here closing over bullish trap over the 17, that's bullish. Still caught underneath this 3-year high anchored VWAP. That's the post-COVID high right there. Okay, that's the COVID rally high. Okay, again, price action's in an uptrend, not a really convincing uptrend. All right, they broke this high, but they're not going far with it. All right, I like to see them like rip it all the way up there. We'll see what happens, but right now, higher lows, higher highs. It's an uptrend, but still caught underneath that 3-year high anchored VWAP USO. It's not ready yet, not ready to be bullish. Okay, maybe later. Right now, it's got some work. Got to get up over a VWAP here. Just kind of prove it. Prove yourself. All right, let's take a look at UNG. Then we'll go visit precious metals. UNG is still in a downtrend. Okay, hasn't made a higher high yet. We do have a squeaky high. Does that go over the 17? No. So we got to take out this high right here to get over the 17. All right, so taking out that high would negate the downtrend. Price action for yesterday, inside day. Okay, higher low, lower high, closing over a trap, over the 17, over a falling 17, over the downtrend line, and over this 12-month high anchored VWAP. Okay, no longer in the lower third, so it's just neutral. Okay. They weren't in the lower third, so they're just neutral. Still in a downtrend. Thanks, Alan. All right, so let's take a look at precious metals. Gold up over the all-time high anchored VWAP, over the trap, over the 17. All that's bullish. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. You can see getting a little breakout this morning. Bullish. Over the uptrend line, that's bullish. Okay, up here in quadrant 4, also bullish. Moving up and holding the higher ground. That's bullish. So there's gold, bullish, of course, having a breakout to the upside. Let's take a look at silver. All right, silver got another inside day. Okay, this is a new 12-year high right here today. See this? That's a new 12-year high. Another inside day, so an inside day to the inside day. Closing over the trap, that's bullish. Over the 17, also bullish. Over the midpoint, bullish. Up here in quadrant 4, bullish. And making higher lows and higher highs, also bullish. And in an uptrend. That's silver. Let's take a look at SMH. SMH in the upper third, that's bullish. Over the trap, over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. All that is bullish up there in the upper third. XLK, I'm running through them quick. Up here in quadrant 4 is bullish. Higher lows, higher highs. That's an uptrend. This is bullish. Doing the same thing. Moving up, holding the higher ground. Closing over the uptrend line. Over the downtrend lines. Okay, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. All that is bullish. That's XLK. Let's take a look at XLF. Same thing, closing up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Closing under the trap, that's neutral. Closing over the 17, that's bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, also bullish. Consolidating up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. That's XLF. Now here comes the problem child. Okay? This is the transportation index. All right, we got a higher low and a higher high, but we closed under the uptrend line, closed under the trap, closed under the 17, closed under this 12 all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, so closing underneath. Good news is we're knocking on the door. The other good news is price is moving up and over to the right. That's bullish. Okay, so there's IYT. All right, so IYT looking good. A little bit weak as compared to the rest of the market. All right. This was the high, and for the last 14 days, it's been kind of melting off. Now, we need the transports to show themselves that products and resources and are getting moved around the country, restocked and on the shelves, and because they're getting purchased up. All right, so we need the transportation index to kind of like get going. This is the problem child right now. Need this to get going. All right, that's IYT. Let's take a look at the trade balance. Was good. Well, that's going to make Trump's job easy. Thanks. All right, Max Payne, 595. All right, you can see you got 0.9 puts to each call that expires today at 4:15. Okay, major event. Okay, the main event this week is AVGO reporting tonight around 4:30. Okay, everything else this week, all right, so far is familiar names, but nothing that's going to move the markets. You can look at Friday, and you can see nothing really here that's going to move the markets. That's on the earnings calendar. On the dollar, dollar closed at the bottom of the body of this red candle. Okay, right there. So price action 98.86 and moving lower. See that? It's in a bear flag and moving lower. This is major support right here. You can see we broke major support and now it's acting as minor resistance. All right, so there's a US dollar index. Let's take a look at economic calendar. Nothing really surprising except for maybe employment situation tomorrow at 8:30. Okay, international trading goods, 8:30. Jobless claims, 8:30. Yeah, mine would have been about 360. All right, for today, we got international trading goods, 8:30. Jobless claims, 8:30. Productivity and cost, 8:30. Gas report, 10. Employment situation, 8:30 tomorrow. That could be a market mover. And then a rig count at 1. All right, so that's it for me for today. All right, I'll come back at about 35 minutes and we'll open up the markets. If you got a question, drop them in there. Thanks, Rickster. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate that. Want to take a look at those before the market opens up. All right, I'll see everybody. Don't forget, I will leave the link in the description to that open house that happens on the 9th. Thank you, traders. See you guys in like 35 minutes.